What up nerds, it's Jason here from Custom Cans, and someone's asked if I can reinforce one of these Airpods Max audio cables. Apparently they're a bit weak and prone to breaking, so I'm going to start by getting a bit of 4mm paracord and cutting it to length, then cutting the jack off and using the old wiggly worm technique to get the paracord, to get the wire through the paracord. It's also worth melting the end with a little blowtorch or lighter or something to stop it from fraying. That's it, right, so once that's on, I'm just gonna basically get a bit of shrink tube, add a bit of hot glue, and then join the two together so that they're kind of securely linked at the top there. So just adding the hot glue there, a little bit to the paracord, a little bit to the connector, and then I'm going to shrink a small piece of paracord in between the two of them. A little bit more glue over the top of everything, and then I'm going to get a larger piece of shrink tube and shrink that over both of those so that it's kind of reinforced and it covers the gap, so it looks a little bit neater. So that's just on there. Using some little needle nose pliers to help me push the jack through, just because it's a little bit tight. Then shrink that down with the hot air gun. There you go, that's pretty well held on there. While it's still warm, you can kind of squish it into shape, get rid of any lumps on there. Then on the other end, I'm just going to strip back some of the wire on there. Inside this cord there is Kevlar, so I'm just going to trim back that because it makes the soldering worse. Now here, what I'm doing is I'm taking the original jack and I've stripped back the wires on that and just tinning the ends of that, because then I can use a multimeter to test which wire is connected to which thing. So I'm just testing that there, and it turned out that the completely red wire was right, completely green wire was left, and the green and gold wire was the ground. So I've trimmed away the other two wires that I don't need. Goodness knows why it's got 5 wires in this cable. I could understand 4 if it had a microphone, but 5 just seems too many. So here I'm tinning them, and I'm being very careful because it's got the Kevlar wires in there that can sometimes get in the way of the soldering. So you just need to spend a little bit of extra time just tinning the end of the wires and make sure that everything's covered in solder nicely. I'm just opening up the back of a jack here. We've got a decent quality jack, a bit chunkier than the original one, and I'm applying a little bit of solder to the connectors on there so that when I join the wires on, they join on nicely. So just adding a bit of solder to the ground on the left and the right, then attaching the wires, what I need on there. So it's just basically attaching the same wires that were on the original jack, and then using a multimeter to check for shorts, screwing it all together, and then just for that final little bit of neatness, I'm going to add an extra bit of shrink tube over there, which will act as strain relief. So then when I slide the jack up, it looks super legit. There you go. So that's yeah. So that's it. That's what it looks like when it's finished, and obviously, hopefully, it's going to be a lot more durable because you've got the paracord taking a lot of the strain. You've got a much chunkier jack, and let's face it, looks a little bit sexier as well. I think the cable is pretty pathetic looking as standard, so this looks a lot better. Anyway, hopefully that was useful, and loving your work.